Hi, my name is Amy, and I just want to speak with you a little today about engaging families and the community in the educational process and the fact that it does take a village. Now, that phrase, it takes a village, has been overused to the point that it's cliche, but there's a reason that people use that phrase, and there's a reason that I've chosen that as my title, and it's because it's the truth. You can't go it alone when you're trying to educate any child, especially a child with a diagnosis or any sort of special needs. So every fall, parents send their children off to school. They wonder, is it enough? Did I send enough pencils in his backpack or have I packed a balanced lunch? Or in my house, is my child wearing socks and underwear because that's always questionable? Uh, or am I sending my kindergartner to school with enough knowledge base to be successful? Those are the worries of many parents. But for the parents of a child with a disability diagnosis, the worry can be a little more extreme. Are my child's health needs going to be met while she's at school? What sort of technology is there to help my child? What part of the curriculum is my child going to be engaging in? These are all big questions that go a little beyond how many pencils are in your backpack. But fortunately, for the parents of any student, you're not alone. But when you combine family, community, and the student, you create the optimum environment for success in your child's education. So sending your child off to school with any disability diagnosis, what do you do? What does that mean? And how do you play into that? The first thing I would suggest is that you should know the law. What laws are in place protecting your child's access to education? There are some, namely IDEA, um, Individuals with Disabilities Educational Assistance Act. It was originally created in 1975, revamped in 2004, but that law is on paper to protect your child's right to a free, fair public education within our public school system. In addition to knowing the law, you should also know your rights. As a parent, if you feel something is not right, you have the ability to question it. If you feel your child isn't succeeding, perhaps they need reevaluation, you can demand that, or request would probably be a better word than demand, but you do have the right to ask the school to evaluate your child for those services. What kind of help is actually out there? There's a lot. I've just brought up a few, but within the team of people supporting your child, you're going to also have access to several different services. Some of these would be psychological services like psychoeducational testing. So if your child is entering the school maybe without a diagnosis, or you find something as the year progresses or as their school career progresses, you have the right to request psychoeducational testing to see, is there another underlying learning disability that affects your child? School health services. Sending your child to school with health needs, be it an insulin pump or tracheotomy, the school can be trained to deal with those health services so that your child can still have access to that fair and free public education. Assistive technology. There are laws granting states federal funding to provide assistance technology for special education. Also, speech services. The school has the ability to evaluate your child's hearing and also to evaluate your child's speech progression and decide if they need any speech therapy services, also occupational therapy services. And in hearing me say occupational therapy and speech therapy and psychological testing, at the head of all of this are professionals that care about your children. These are part of the community that are on your team. So who else is on your team? Well, in addition to all of those professionals like speech and language pathologists or psychologists, an important concept to remember is that of wraparound. What does wraparound mean? Wraparound is an approach that's going to be the most successful for your child. That's going to be a family-driven, collaborative, effort that's student-centered and not separated by specialty. What does that mean? That means your speech pathologist is going to be working with your child's resource teacher, along with your child's general education teacher, and everyone is going to be looking at the big picture that is your child rather than each individual concern that you may have. Also, in knowing your team, part of your team's role is to create an IEP. That's an individualized education plan. Now, on your IEP team, this IEP is going to evaluate how is your child going to progress through the general curriculum? What accommodations need to be made? How does assessment change? What are the expectations? And this would be a daunting task for any one person, but fortunately you do have a team creating this IEP. This is going to be you. It's going to be your child's general education teacher, special education teacher, anyone with knowledge of your students' specific needs or what the school's district services are, and also someone who will interpret the non-discriminatory evaluation. And another key member of this team oftentimes is the student. How do they fit in? And empowering that student is a great way to move him towards success. And success is an interesting word. And success has many different meanings. I have 4 children. Just as success means different to my 14-year-old than success would mean to my 6-year-old, I expect success from both of them, but it has to be measured on their scale and not the world's. But your child can succeed, and your child will succeed when you understand that it's families and communities and educators come together to ensure your child gets the optimum success from their educational plan. Thank you.